This is Head Bustin' Boxing, and we are back in the house. And we gotta talk about this Tyson Fury fight at least one more time. Probably wind up doing other videos, but in this video we're gonna talk about the controversy that's swirling around the Fury's fight, or the Fury fight. And I'm not talking about the scoring and nothing like that, even though a lot of people are saying that the fight could have been a draw or a Fury loss. That's not what we're here to talk about. We do want to talk about the cut though. A lot of people are complaining that Tyson Fury should have been stopped and given a TKO loss for how severe the cut was. Now, we're going to go over a few situations that played out, you know, with someone being severely cut. Some of them will be from headbutts, but most of them will be, I'm only gonna do 5, but one of them, matter of fact, I think all of them are from punches. No, I think 2 of them are from headbutts and 3 of them are from punches. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. I don't want to delay you, but clearly Tyson Fury cut came from a punch. Even though his corner and Fury didn't think so initially, the replay showed that he was clearly cut from a nice left hook slash maybe an overhand left, and it split him right across the eye. And then later on, he also was cut below the eye. Now, let's look into Arturo Gatti. When he fought Alfonso Gomez, he had a split lip, and that's pretty gross. And they stopped the fight, and you can understand maybe the fact that blood would go into his mouth, make it hard for him, you know, to breathe or whatever, who knows. Or the fact that he would be constantly swallowing blood. They stopped the fight in the 7th round. Now, that's a pretty nasty cut, but would you say it's worse than that? I mean, that's pretty gross. And I'm gonna try to refrain from trying to influence you one way or the other. But I mean, you see the cut, both, and he has 2, that's the thing, and both of them are situated over his eye. Now, let's move on to the next one. You have Victor Ortiz, who was lacerated at the corner of his forehead. And this was actually, I think, Victor's first non-win, I should say, because it wasn't a loss. It was considered a draw. First round headbutt over, you know, he was headbutted, and it went to the cards. They called it a draw. Okay, that's a pretty nasty gash in his head, and you know, it bled pretty good. Would you say that cut was worse than this? I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to influence anybody. I'm just dealing with the subject. You tell me. Hit me up in the comment section, let me know. Alright, now we're gonna move on to another fighter. Now this cut is the only one that I can think of that I can say was probably just as bad or worse than the Fury cut. It might be slightly longer. The Fury cut might be a little wilder, about the same though. I mean, that's about as ugly as it's gonna get. And but here's the difference between what happened to Jesse James. And by the way, this was also a draw or whatnot, if I remember correctly. But here's the difference between his cut and Tyson's cut. Tyson's cut is just as nasty, just as long. Maybe it might be a little bit shorter, maybe. But both of them, you look at the eyebrows, they both stop around the same spot. But the difference is Tyson has another cut closer to the eye. So even if you say, well, Jesse James LEIJA cut was worse than Tyson's, Tyson still has another cut that probably could have stopped the fight in itself under his eye. So, I mean, in your opinion, and let's be honest with ourselves, comparing LEIJA's cut to Fury's cut, should the fight have been stopped? Because all of these fights I'm showing you, they will stop. Okay, now here's a pretty good one. Now this is Julio Cesar Chavez when he fought De La Hoya in '96, and this was a 4th round stoppage. Now, I apologize for the picture quality. That was the best I could do, but you can still see the cut. They cleaned it up pretty good. This is right after the fight in his dressing room. So, but even during the post-fight interview, they never really gave, or at least that I could see anyway, a clear look at the cut. You know, where he stood still long enough where you could really get a good look at it. I tried to find better images, but anyway, the point is, you can still see the cut though. Now I can tell you off the break, that cut is not as bad as Tyson Fury's cut. But I will say this in defense of why I say, I guess in defense of Fury. With this Chavez fight, he wasn't just bleeding from the eye, he was also bleeding from the nose. I mean, I'll be honest, he was covered in blood. I mean, with Fury, it was more one side of his face, but with Chavez, like he was a mess. Not saying Fury wasn't, but like he had blood all over his face on both sides. And that could have been from De La Hoya hitting him, getting the blood on his gloves and hitting him more. I mean, he painted a picture of blood on his face, but that's neither here nor there, because the judge is clean. Well, not the judge, the ringside physician cleaned his face off and actually looked at the cut and stopped it. But it was definitely a nasty cut. But once again, if you compare that cut to this cut, would you say Chavez's cut was worse? Or, you know, like, who was the worst for wear, Chavez or Fury? And Chavez got stopped in the 4th round. Tyson Fury was cut in the 3rd, so he went 3 rounds. I mean, from the 3rd round on with the top cut. That other cut came a little later. I think, like, I don't know, the 6th round, something like that. So he had to fight at least half the fight with both of these cuts, but 3/4 of the fight with the nastier of the 2. But now, once again, even though the one at the top would be the nastier one, the one at the bottom is right at his eye. So I mean, you're talking about 2 extremely nasty cuts. You can argue that just off of the cut right over his eye, not the one in his eyebrow, the cut right over his eye alone, you could argue that fight could have been stopped. Now here's the last one I'm gonna go to, and we're gonna call it a day. The VITALI Klitschko versus Lennox Lewis fight in 2003, where the fight was stopped, I believe, the 6th round, 5th round, something like that. Now that's a pretty ugly cut, and he's cut underneath his eye as well. He was a bloody mess. That fight was stopped. Now, because people can argue, well, in some of these instances, the other guy was getting smacked up pretty good. So, it wasn't no need to keep letting him take punishment. Especially in the Chavez instance, you can definitely claim that. The other ones maybe not so much. But in the Chavez fight, he was clearly getting outclassed. The blood was clearly bothering him. So, you could make the argument, the circumstances, not just the cut, brought on the stoppage. Well, VITALI Klitschko was doing pretty good against Lennox Lewis. And a lot of people would even argue that he was winning the fight. That Lennox Lewis was indeed saved by that, the cut. A lot of people will argue that Lennox Lewis was losing that fight, and even if he was up, VITALI was gaining momentum and was taking over the fight. A lot of people will argue that. So with that being said, you can't use the argument that because Fury was still doing well and winning rounds, that's the reason why they didn't stop it. I mean, you can argue that, but when you look at other situations similar, does that hold up? Like I said, that's an ugly cut that VITALI suffered, but is it as bad as that? Hit me up in the comment section, let me know. like I said, I'm not going to argue either way. Because at the end of the day, the fight is over with. Fury got the win. Whether you wanted him to win, whether you didn't want him to win, whatever. He got the win. But should it have been stopped? Put your feelings aside. I don't care if you root for him or don't. I don't care if you like him or you don't. I don't care if you're American or British or whatever. Put your feelings aside. You tell me. Hit me up in the comment section, whether it's on Facebook or on my YouTube comment section on the video. Hit me up and let me know, should the fight have been stopped compared to other fights where you've seen extremely grotesque cuts. That's pretty much all I got. This is Head Busting Boxing. Hit that like button, hit that share button. Share this video, let other people jump in so we can get a poll of this and see, what people think. Hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you would like to donate to the channel, you can click on the donation link below in the description of the video, or you can go to the home page and click on the PayPal button up in the right hand corner. But anyway, that's pretty much all I got. Like I said, hit me up in the comment section and let me know how you thought this should have played out. But anyway, this is Head Busting Boxing's own Fight Doctor. I am out.